Hi guys, today I finished this book called Unbreaking India by Sanjay Dikshit, and I'm going to do a review about it. And what can I say? How do I start? This is probably the most significant and important book I've read in my life, along with India, that is Bharat by J.S.I. Deepak, of course, which is probably the most important book of this entire decade, this coming decade until 2030, and it should be taught in sociology classrooms all over the country immediately. J.S.I. Deepak's book, and I think this book should be taught in political science classrooms, because the first thing you have to know that there's a very interesting background to how this book came about. Sanjay Dikshit, a retired IAS officer and who runs the YouTube channel called Jaipur Dialogues, he initially had a deal with Bloomsbury to publish this book, and this book went into printing. Pre-orders were done, and then at the last moment Sanjay Dikshit backed out from this deal as a mark of protest, because Bloomsbury, coming under pressure from leftists and fake historians and white liberal intelligentsia all over the world, including people like William Dalrymple, they backed out from a book by Dr. Monica Arora and two other professors of DU on the Delhi riots of 2020. Bloomsbury decided to cancel those three strong independent women who were writing on the problems, how the riots came about. So Sanjay Dikshit, as a protest, also kicked out Bloomsbury from his life and instead published this book from Garuda Publications, which is a pretty beautiful publishing. And then that book by Dr. Advocate Monica Arora as well, that book also came out from Garuda Prakashan. Now, the first thing you have to know about Sanjay Dikshit is that he apparently, I thought he would not be this way, but he's a prolific writer. He has a brilliant grasp on English language. Of course, you know it from his debates and interviews in Jaipur Dialogues, but he has a tremendous writing skill. My God, if this was fiction and if this was not a pro-Hindu stand, I'm telling you, this would win thriller awards and best writing awards, Booker Prize and whatnot all over the world. Just because this is non-fiction and just because this is pro-Hindustan, this book is underappreciated. Just like Kashmir Files. I think Kashmir Files is a brilliant movie as a movie itself. If it was not pro-Hindu in its nature, that guy who played the character of Krishna, he would be getting gigantic awards all over the world. And the background score was also great. But anyway, you need to read this book if you want a brief and extremely concise, precise, fast-paced. It has a maddening pace. It's like, what I've done to this book. I have taken so many notes everywhere because I am very invested in this topic. I make videos based on the themes that I've read in this book. That's why it took me quite some time. It took me about 1 or 2 months to finish the book. But if you are just a reader who wants to know about this stuff, who wants to know in a concise way the brief history of Indian independence, partition, Kashmir, and the importance of CAA and how Article 370, taking it back, was a great idea. For those things, if you just want to read it as a reader and not as a speaker on YouTube, you can read through this book in an entire weekend. It's a very quick and easy to read book. What you call readable. What else can I say? Near the end of the book, there are entire laws, entire acts given as appendix, which frankly the last two I did not read because I'm not a law student. So this language is what I was reading was like a different language entirely for me. So I did not bother to read those last two, but I read the other two. I'll come to that. The last two were the Constitution, the application to Jammu and Kashmir, Order 1954, and then the Article 370 itself, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. And before that was Jogendranath Mondol's resignation letter and the Liaquat Nehru agreement, which was an agreement between Liaquat Ali Khan and Nehru about giving good lives to the minorities of both the countries, which Liaquat, of course, betrayed every step of the way. And there are great chapters on a brief history of Kashmir, on all the 7 exoduses that happened. I mean, I can't recommend enough how important this book is for every Indian and every Bangladeshi and Pakistani for that matter. But I'll recommend that you read this book because it's so easy to read. You don't have to be a great English literature student, nor do you have to invest a lot of time, nor do you have to invest too much brains to read this, because it's so well explained. The best way to describe this book is, it's like having a conversation with a very intelligent friend of yours. Don't we all have such a friend who's like the Gyani in your circle? This is like a Gyani bro talking to you on a weekend over a cup of coffee or beer. That's what this book is. So please read this book.